The Marine Corps is designed to be expeditionary, so we must be fast, austere, and lethal. And the concepts and capabilities tested during the Advanced Warfighting Experiment will give Marines a leg up in future security environments.
What we want to look at is assessing how a special purpose MACTF might be able to command and control multiple dispersed company land teams across a maritime area of operations, whether it's with technology enabler, new organizational constructs, or new TTPs and training.
Expeditionary Force 21 has outlined the way and the direction the Marine Corps is headed, and part of that is us being able to operate in the Pacific from the sea base and being able to influence a wide variety of contingencies.
It's pretty interesting, and it feels kind of sci-fi, I guess. I thought it was just going to be stumbling around and it would lose its footing just off the road and on any sort of uneven terrain, but it's actually proven to be pretty reliable and pretty rugged.
Trying to integrate new technologies, new concepts, new ways of doing business into a company. So we've had our challenges with it, but we've learned a lot. It's been a lot more successful than I think I anticipated.
Help me, God! The Marine Corps is going to be doing more company-sized operations, and so we need a smaller medical response. But the austere environment's not going to change. The lethal nature of the engagements isn't going to change. He's broadcasting the patient's vitals, and the doc is texting back a response. The ER doctor forward gives us the ability to meet the requirements of the fabled golden hour. The ability to get a patient to the table of an ER doc so they can do those immediate interventions so they can make it safely to the sea base.
The UHAC is one of those experimental technologies that we're looking at as a possible concept, capability to look at how we could take our forces in the future and be able to insert them in areas that we wouldn't be able to insert them today based on our current systems that are fielded.
I think what we try and do with experimentation is in training you want to push to the boundaries of what you can do, and you have to do that so that when you get to that boundary you can look further and try and figure out how you might innovate outside of that operating box that you're constrained to. And that's where we endeavor to kind of go when we go with experimentation. How do we figure out how we navigate that uncharted space and do it safely? Do it so we can, at the right cost, and do it so we can accomplish the mission. And that's what experimentation is about. That's what we're trying to figure out how to do to make our Marines more effective.
Lance Corporal Levi Johnson, 20 years old, from Springdale, Arkansas, and I'm a 0231 intelligence specialist. The Raven is a small, hand-launched aerial platform. It can be used for all sorts of things, such as surveillance. You can track targets with the electro-optical payload. So it's going to give you a picture just like you would see if you took a picture on your cell phone. It also has infrared capabilities, and it has both a forward and a side-looking camera. The Raven will be flown with a two-person team. You'll have a mission operator and a vehicle operator. The vehicle operator will use a small hand controller, similar to maybe like a Nintendo DS or a PlayStation Portable. And the mission operator has a little Toughbook laptop, which he can see the map and the zone you can fly in, whereas you as the vehicle operator can see the feed coming from the cameras themselves. The best thing about the Raven is that it does exactly what it tells you to do. And the worst thing about the Raven is it does exactly what you tell it to. We've used the Raven for patrol overwatch, as well as we've flown it and got eyes on a city and on particular buildings before a patrol has got to the city. The range of this Raven is 5 to 10 kilometers, and this will be depending on which antenna you're using. It has an omnidirectional antenna or a patch antenna, which will be a direct line of sight. We don't use the 10-kilometer one because even though it's got a better range, it's more difficult to use because you have to keep the antenna pointed directly at the aircraft. So as it flies around you, you have to orient the antenna. The omnidirectional you never have to mess with, and 5 kilometers is typically well within where we need to work. The Raven can stay in the air for approximately 60 to 90 minutes, and this will be a variable depending on the batteries and how new they are and if they're fully charged or not. The gimbal payload is sort of like what you'd see on the front of a Apache or a Cobra. It's the circular sphere on the top, on the front of it, that you see rotating around. It has cameras in it, and it's stabilized. The gimbal payload mainly improves the aircraft's capabilities in 2 ways. First off, it takes out a large amount of the vibration that the camera receives from your picture, and secondly, it is able to swivel, so you do not have to pass by a target and then come around and circle a second time to get a second look on it. As you fly in any direction, it can continue to have eyes on target. You'll never lose the target with a gimbal payload. With the Raven being such a light airframe, it's 4.4 pounds, and it bounces a lot with the winds. And since the payload that we're using is a fixed payload, it bounces the center field of view of your camera around. So the camera quality is not quite what you'd want. You cannot use it to call for fires, and you cannot always confirm, does one guy have a weapon or not. But it is still much better to have than just going in blind. The landing is, it looks like a crash, but it's actually a controlled crash. It has a pad on the bottom of it, kind of like a styrofoam pad, and it will come down. It slows itself down as much as it can, and it glides down to the ground. And when it hits, it's made of 8 components, and these 8 components will come apart. So it does look like it crashes and blows apart, but that's actually supposed to happen. If another nation were to be sending out a patrol, we could definitely provide overwatch for them, and then if we see anything to alert them, we could relay that information to them as fast as possible so that they would know to get down, get safe.
Put something together maybe on paper and you don't come on here and actually see it in action.
It means a lot. It's the most important part of what we build is actually how the Marines use it. It doesn't mean anything if we theorize and engineer it all. Bringing it out to the field, watching them use it, see what problems they encounter, the feedback that they give us is invaluable to making these things better.
How do you think things have gone so far today?
I think they're going well. The Marines are capable, they understand the technology, and they're using it where they think it's appropriate.
What's the goal for something like this? Like, what's the whole idea behind it?
The original idea came from Mickwell as a vehicle to lighten the load for the Marines, kind of a mule. They also can be used as a CASEVAC platform. The main goal was to have a kind of an extra member of the squad that doesn't require a driver, that can follow behind the Marines, carry their extra water, MREs, and all sorts of things like that.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
In general, the concept is there. It's a good idea, especially for patrolling. Well, we use it primarily for patrolling and resupplying. It's pretty good in that you can just walk along with it and you still have your rifle out while it follows you, and you don't waste a driver.
Today it takes 5 or 6 Marines to get somebody wounded off the battlefield. With something like this, you could do it with 1, and that keeps more Marines in the fight.
We are testing out the LS3. It's a robotic mule. It's real easy to control, really easy to understand, and it's a whole lot of fun. You can pretty much teach anybody in the military to use it.
They're walking through just simple patrol maneuvers with the machine to see what its limits are and where it makes most sense for it to be when the squad is on patrol. Experimentation phase is in full swing right now. Then we'll come back and we'll look at all the data. We'll get the feedback from all the Marines on how they feel it can support them best. And then we'll look at what it needs to look like, what right looks like at the end of the day for a legged support system that's autonomous. We ultimately wanted to support Marines in the field. We ultimately wanted to get some of the load off their backs.
The system was really good. It's a great idea, and I'm glad that they're coming out. That just shows that the Marine Corps is changing, times are changing the next 15, 20 years. Stuff like this should be everywhere in the military.
Yes, I am Corporal Ill, Ryan Michael. I'm from Michigan, Millington, Michigan, and I am a squad leader for Kilo Company, 1st Platoon. The FMC it's a good first ability. I mean, it's a system that you can either attach to you on your flag. The main battery can go into a side-heavy pouch, or somehow mount it into your system itself, and then the pouches can go on you. It's all intertwined to connect to either yourself or, as I have it, on a day pack. It works with a main battery that connects to a control panel, and that control panel itself has the wiring to connect to the actual charging pouches that will insert either the 152, 153. You can even attach a 2590 battery to it, and it has the USB adapter for other kinds of technology. For communication, not so much, but it allows you to not worry on battery supplies as much. If you are going to sustainment ops for anywhere from 48 to 72 hours time outside the wire, this system will help you tremendously with not having to worry about battery resupplies, so you can stay out there and sustain yourself for anywhere from a week at the most, I would say. Things that we've loved about it is that it is able to, before we leave the wire or after we can come back and check our batteries, put it out in the sunlight with the solar panel, and charge pretty much until max capacity. We've been able to sustain full capacity of all our radios from the 153s and the 152s the entire time we've been out here. We haven't had to struggle with dead batteries at all. It's been really well. Shortcomings that I've noticed, it's definitely not good for when it says the foot mobile system. It's not exactly a mobile. The only thing that makes it mobile is that it can connect to your body and be out there for stationary hours. It's not for charging on the move. It's something that you have to be in a stationary position, and you need direct sunlight if you're going to use the solar panel extension for it. But for actually charging batteries on the move, it's great. I would, yes. In the future, after they've continued to test with it, continue to work with it, fixing it up to make sure it's completely grunt proof, you know how we are, it'll be a really valuable asset and very utilized by squads, platoons, even to a battalion level.
Help me, God! Not my leg! You're gonna be okay! You're gonna be okay! Little bear! Little bear! Little bear!
Little bear, drag his ass over there. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey!
Let's go. Let's go.
On my leg! Little bear! Why? It's on my leg! Help me!
One more inside, let's go, let's go.
That line going up.
Get on his boat, we gotta get him up on here.
Making him injury, more rounds. Way to be good. Let everybody up. Group together.
I'm over here.
Alright, take his weapon. Make sure you take his weapon. One more inside, let's go, let's go.
That line going up.
Get on his boat, we gotta get him up on here.
Making him injury, more rounds. Way to be good. Put everybody up. Long them group together.
I'm over here.
Alright, take his weapon. Make sure you take his weapon.
Corpsman's trying to manage double amputation, so he's broadcasting the patient's vitals, and the doc is texting back responses, which is cool. So it helps the corpsman manage a very serious illness whenever they can't get the casualty back here in a timely manner because of just the stuff that happens.
We'll send contact report upon confirmation of fire over.
One, two, three. Doc, he's coming to you!
Alright, so what'll happen is you'll just kind of tuck nurse it this way, so it's a little bit more rhythm. Go. 12:38.
Don't get him off there, but the before we send him, yes.
So, can you just kind of explain to me kind of what happened when you were out there today with the casualty?
So when we were out, we took contact, and the enemy had drawn our troops into an ambush, and an IED blast went off. One of which had killed one of our Marines, and then the other one had resulted in a double amputee. So once I arrived on the scene, 2 tourniquets were applied, and then using the new technology that we have, the Tempest Pro, I was able to send direct feedback to the shock trauma platoon, and they were from there able to assist me in any other higher echelon of care that I was not able to provide myself.
So kind of, can you explain that system to me kind of like in layman's terms, like how does it work?
It's basically a glorified vital signs machine. It's capable of, so your blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, SpO2, and then as well as it can do, what is it, the lead system as well. So if you need to do EKG, it has a 3-lead system on it. It has the TC3 cards on it as well, so I can actually pick out what type of injury it is, like color-coded, and then directly to whatever part of the body it would be, so chest, legs, arms, what have you, head, any kind of trauma. And then it also gives you descriptions for if I was to administer IVs, any other kind of drugs, and then make sure that yeah, just whatever else is out of my scope of practice.
So bottom line, what does something like that bring to you? What does it do for your job?
I would say definite confidence booster. I mean, not that I would need it, but I mean, if I was sustaining a patient for a long period of time, say if a vehicle broke down or something like that, I would feel more comfortable keep my patient alive.
So is it kind of just having that length of communication with somebody that helps?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because you feel like with the direct text or voice capability, I'm able to stay in direct contact, and they can just walk me through steps that I would need to provide for my patient.
So you're in direct contact with the doctor then?
Correct, with the providers, yes.
Okay. So, let me think.
Is it convenient for you to use?
Yes, definitely. It's lightweight, streamlined, very easy to use. When we were doing the practice runs, we actually had the Marines operating it while I was treating the casualties, and I was able to walk them through it. But I mean, I didn't even really have to. It was really very streamlined. Yes.
Did it make your job easier?
I would say yes, definitely. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Can you tell me about the station behind us?
Yeah, right behind my, over my right shoulder here is the shock trauma section, which is a concept that Marine Corps Warfighting Lab is developing in conjunction with a lot of input from the fleets, feedback from the fleet, or feedback from the Green Side Medical. The concept is basically bringing scaling down the shock trauma platoon into TO04, having a certain amount of equipment, the big one being blood, to come with us. And be able to do damage control resuscitation closest to the point of injury, saving what we're trying to do is mitigate that golden hour, extend it as much as we can. So it's a pretty robust capability for the size that you see. Not a whole lot of capacity, but with resupply, and we've worked that out, that'll be pretty good. We'll take out, has the capability of taking 4 severe battle injured before we need resupply, but like I said before, we'd constantly be resupplying during that time. So it's comprised of an ER physician, a PA, an ER PA, a nurse, and then a corpsman, just regular corpsman. And then 2 Marines would be going with us too. So everything packages and fits up on that ITV right behind us. We can get it up and down 15 minutes or under. So ready to take casualties pretty quickly.
And what type of medical equipment do you have? Is it just blood or?
No, so the equipment we're going to have on there is a lot of advanced medical equipment. So one is the MOVE system, which provides us monitoring capabilities so we can get all our vital signs that we need. We take care of a patient. It also has an oxygen scavenger on there, or
an O-box so that we can provide ventilatory support. So it's a breathing machine, so we can breathe for these people if we need to do that. Of course, we have the blood, which allows us to do that. That's the key component for the resuscitation, is getting Marines or sailors, whoever the patient needs, is getting their blood in. So we have that. I don't know if it's visible, but we have the 2 little coolers that can hold about 20 units of blood right now. We have all the consumable equipment that we need to take care of these people, going down to, like I said, to the chest tubes or anything that we would need to take care of trauma patients in the field. We're also right now on the ITV, we're testing the I2I, which is a telemedicine capability. Essentially, it's a laptop that has the TCCC card on there, and we can interact as needed with people in the field or further away that might need a little possibly med direction. We're testing that concept to see if they need med direction, or is it, also just the ability to communicate with them, help them out. So, pretty neat stuff.
Why is it important to train these situations, and what are the benefits that your team gets from it?
So anytime trauma care or these things, it's always a team concept. So you have to, that team needs the time to gel, get together, know each other. There's going to be a lot of interoperability with a smaller group like this. So the docs have to be able to do the nurse's job and vice versa on some of these things. We all need to know how to run this equipment on the ITV, the generator, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody has to be interoperable. So the more reps we have doing that, the more facile we get with equipment, with the setup, kind of with the procedures that we need to go about. But it also enhances, the bottom line is going to end up enhancing the medical care that we're going to be giving them. Once that team is really gelled together, it's invaluable to have that. Wow, that's bright. It's invaluable to have that training. Sorry.
1 second. I might have to adjust this because that's on.
Yeah, that's bright.
And can you go into details about how the telemedicine actually works, on the field?
Yeah, so basically what will happen is the corpsman would have a Tempest, kind of like a 6-pound iPad, if you will, that has all these monitoring capability, so it can give you some vital signs. You can take pictures. You can actually have phone calls from that. You can text from it. They would, once they have a patient in a stable environment and are able to communicate with us, you don't want to do this with care under fire, but once they're able to communicate with us, they would link up with either the MEL, CLC, or via the radio, and then they can notify us in the ITV that they need that they're looking for some kind of medical direction or some kind of communication. And then I can stand right, we just did a case, but I can stand right there on the deployable, on that laptop, and I can see the picture of what the case they're describing to me. I can give them, like I said, some medical direction. I can give them some medical direction on what to do, medicines and that. Most corpsmen already know how to do that stuff, but it can be helpful if they're needing further advice, or somebody's really kind of at a loss and needs a little higher up direction from higher up.
Tell us whenever you're ready and start.
Corporal Wallace, first name's Colby. Job description, I'm a water support technician, 1171. Let's see, I'm 22 now. So the small unit water purification system, it's a smaller version of, say, the TWIP's tactical water purification system and the LIPS, which is a lightweight water purification system. Both of those systems are on a much larger scale, whereas the SUPS is meant for just a squad unit. Easy to transport, easy to use, very clean water. But right now we have a squad that we're supporting. COCs coming by with 5-gallon camelbacks that we keep rotating. It takes about 4 hours to fill up, maybe 25 gallons. That seems to be the way that it's going right now with the brackish water that we're working with right now. With the SUPs, we're purifying close to 15 to 16 gallons per hour. We can purify anything from fresh water, brackish water, and salt water. The difference between the three is the parts per million in each water aspect. It's just a size of grading. Salt water has about 15,000 parts per million at least. And that's pretty high up there, and the SUPs can handle it. The only difference is going to be the amount of water that it pushes out. It's more work for the reverse osmosis unit inside of the system. Therefore, fresh water is less work, more water with fresh water, less water with salt water. First, it needs to be next to a water source. We're going to have the pump sitting inside of the water, and it's going to be pulled in by a smaller pump sitting inside of this case. That pump inside of the case is going to pull the water into a piston, and that's how we're going to get enough pressure for the reverse osmosis unit to work. Because for reverse osmosis to work, you need lots of pressure. This piston is going to force water into the RO elements, and from there it's getting purified. The way reverse osmosis works, if you need a quick down and dirty for that, imagine laying out a sheet, poking a bunch of microscopic pores inside of it, and rolling it up nice and tight. You're going to need a lot of pressure to separate the water molecules from any other kind of stuff that you're trying to purify from it. And it's going to reach all the way in the center of this rolled up sheet, and that's your clean water. Everything else gets pushed back out, and then you can go back around and purify some more. The pros is that it's small, quick to use, quick to pack up. You know, if we get down in a gunfight right now, you know, grab everything, throw it in the back of a Humvee, and head out real quick. The cons, it doesn't push out a lot of water. But if you try and fix that, you're going to end up making the system larger, and you're going to lose some of those pros. It's very lightweight, easy to use, and quick to set up.
All right, so, and then without moving this time, tell me about the power source, like you said before.
The power system, the SUPS only requires 1.5 amps to run, which is a very small amount. You got batteries that hold more than that. You could hook it up to a radio battery and be able to run a SUPS just off that. Right now we have it hooked up to a small Honda generator. Makes a little bit of noise, and that's about the only noise that you're hearing from the system as well.
First and last name, and then spell that out for me so we have it for
Sure. Lieutenant Colonel Don Gordon. I'm with the Marine Corps Warfighting Lab. Donald A. Gordon, G-O-R-D-O-N.
Okay, and you said, what is your job title, sir?
My job title, I'm the Current Technology Officer for Marine Corps Warfighting Lab.
Okay, sir, if you could just explain to me what is your role and what's going on today?
Okay. Today we have a vehicle here called the Ultra Heavy Amphibious Connector, or UHAC. The UHAC, as you can see behind me, is a unique vehicle. We've brought it out. It's an experimental concept demonstrator. What's unique about it, you can see it has foamed cushion tracks that it rides on to cross the water and to cross the beach zone. So what that allows it to do is to cross terrain that you wouldn't normally be able to get traditional or existing vehicles such as an LCAC across. So we're using this vehicle as a demonstrator, as a potential future connector that could allow us to come into areas that are unprepared. In the future, the Marine Corps sees an environment where we may or may not have access to port facilities or to prepared beach landing sites. This kind of vehicle demonstrates one such concept that would allow us to come into areas that are unprepared and areas that have difficult beach area terrain and cross that terrain in order to offload equipment and supplies from the sea to the shore.
So, sir, is this vehicle, is this a prototype, or is the other one bigger? Is this just a smaller version, or?
This is what it's built by a company, Navitec, here in Hawaii. Worked through the Office of Naval Research, ONR, and Marine Corps Warfighting Lab. This is a half-scale model. They have drawings for a full-scale model that would carry considerably more equipment, considerably larger. It's envisioned that it would be able to carry up to 3 M1A1 tanks inside of the hull. This vehicle, as the half-scale model, can carry 1 Humvee.
And sir, for you, how important do you think advancements like this are for the Marine Corps in accomplishing their mission?
It's very important as we look to future concepts such as EF-21 or Expeditionary Force 21 that envisions the Marine Corps operating in small, dispersed, distributed locations in forward basing, and being able to put those Marines in those forward deployed bases and be able to resupply them from the sea. So being able to access areas that are not prepared, don't have port facilities, don't necessarily have air facilities that we could get supplies in, the Marine Corps envisions that we will be able to supply our Marines from the sea. So concepts such as the UHAC is one technology demonstrating how we could potentially fulfill that EF-21 vision in the future.
Do you have anything else you want to add, sir?
No, thank you.
All right.